What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Trading Learning 101. This video is going to be a weekly recap of July 16th through July 20th. I think I'm going to do this every single weekend just to share with you guys just the process to prepare myself for the upcoming week. First up here, let's go over the SPY real quick just to get an idea of how the market was. As we all know, the market this week was really tough. It was earnings season. Not a lot of stuff was breaking out. Not a lot of stocks were breaking out. A lot of low float pumps were going on. I try to follow the S&P. I'll have it up on my trade ideas chart. I'll have a separate chart over here of the S&P 500 just to get an idea of where the market is heading at the moment when I'm observing the market, because 3 out of 4 stocks follow the overall market, and the S&P 500 is a 500 companies, so whatever they're doing, the overall market is going to be doing. I'll show you here what I use. I'll have this bad boy up going. This is a high and low, so as the market's going, you'll have 2 bars on this. And let's see if I can... No, it won't let me go back on a day. But what will happen is this will be, if stocks are breaking out, the percentage on this green thing here will be bigger, and the red percentage will be smaller, and it'll have a green line and a red line, and it'll show me the percentage of how many stocks are breaking out to new highs and how many stocks are hitting new lows. So I'll use that, and I'll also use, where is it at? This right here, the S&P or the SPY. So, and that's just the spider. So this is the SPY right here, and as you can see, it's in this up wedge right now, and it did break above this top resistance line right here. It hasn't broke above this line since February 1st. That's when it pretty much just jumped right off of it, as you can see right here. That was February 1st. We're July 22nd. It's been a long year so far, but it's been a good year too. But as you can see, when it broke above this, what I want to see, or what should have happened when it broke above this, is an explosiveness when it broke above that, and we didn't get that. So tomorrow, Monday the 23rd, is going to be an interesting day to see what direction this is going to be heading. Is it going to keep trending up, or is it going to drop back below this line and start to pull back? Because it's not too far off from its yearly highs here at around 286. So it's getting close, but all this year, as you can see, it's just been very toppy, and we might be near the top. And this was the year before, and it's just went up and up and up and up and up and up. And now we're reached the very top, as it looks like. And like I said, it's very toppy, and we have not been going anywhere. So this has just been a choppy year so far, I would say. It's very interesting to watch this and keep an eye on it. I won't watch it very closely through the week unless it's just making crazy moves. But over the weekend, I'll see what it did for the week. It just slowly, little bit by little bit, just climbing up, as it looks like, through the week. It had one good day, and it looked like that was on Tuesday. And if you see here at the top of this was on Tuesday the 17th. And when it came up to this line, it broke over it just a little bit, and then it pulled back and closed. And then the next day, it just inched its way up. It's not having that explosiveness, like I said. Normally, when stocks break out of a trend or a pattern, they have that explosiveness for the next leg up. We're not seeing that right now on this. Maybe it will happen on Monday, Tuesday. I don't know, and I don't want to predict what it does. I just simply want to react with what the market is currently doing. Thought I'd go over that with you guys. So let's get into the good stuff here. As I said, a lot of stocks weren't breaking out really over the week. It was earnings season for a lot of these companies. I believe Netflix came out with bad earnings because their subscribers weren't satisfied with the subscription hikes going from what was it, $9.99 to $12.99 or $13.99 now. And the thing with Papa John's, but I really don't pay attention to those big companies. I just hear about it because I'm always in the market. I'll always see a news feed on it or something. But other than that, it was a lot of low floats being pumped this week. There was a couple of them. MTSL was a continuation pump because there was nothing going on and traders just kept coming back to that. We'll start with that one. We scroll back right here. This is what happened on the 16th, Monday. And Monday, it just went from $1.45 and it just kept grinding and grinding all the way up to $6.45. And then look at that huge drop. That's crazy. That's a lot. It just goes to show you right here that a lot of people they had trend lines up on this. And when it finally broke that trend line, everybody just dumped it. So throughout the day, people just kept buying and buying and buying and buying. And there was no one really selling. More buying and buying and buying kept coming in. Let's also look at the 5-minute on it. So as you can see right here, let's put a trend line up on this. Let's start it right here. So if you put a trend line down at the bottom volume, you can see the volume just gradually kept getting more and more and more. And then on this, again, this is the 5-minute, you could easily put a trend line on this. Originally from here, I would say right there, but then it consolidated and it didn't break. People would have probably put one right here, and it never broke below that. And then after it consolidated, you can see as well, not right here, but in a way, it formed a wedge. That's not really that great, but if this one was a little bit taller, it would have formed a nice wedge, and then it popped up, and then another trend line got put into place. And that's a steep, steep trend line. Steep, steep trend line. So, and remember, this is the 5-minute, and then we'll go back and we'll look at the 1-minute on this. And it just kept buying and buying and buying and buying. It did pull back a little bit, but then it held itself. And it just continued to keep rising. And then when it started to fall off right here, there was 689,000 in volume. And then as soon as the next candle made a new low, that's when people started dumping it, and they just completely destroyed this. And as you can see, there's really not much volume even on these candles. Each candle every 5 minutes. So right here, that's 689,000. Then the next 5 minutes, it was almost 500,000, 730,000. And the last 5 minutes of the day, that was just over 1,000,000. So not a lot of volume going in on this. 600,000 in 5 minutes, that's like 100,000 in volume. That's really not that spectacular, I would say. That was Monday, and I remember on my daily recap video on Monday, we were looking at this in the morning, and I put a trend line going up on it, and then I didn't know it was just going to make a move like this. I mean, that's just crazy. And then going back to the 1 minute right here, after making those little trend lines here on the 5 minute, it's showing up right here. An all day gainer right here. Again, this had no news. It was just, there was nothing going on in the market. The one on Monday that had news and the one that I played and took a loss on, that didn't do anything. And that was the only thing really people had their eyes on pre-market, and it just failed miserably because a pre-market, it just went on a crazy move up. It went up too much, and a lot of people were like, I'm not going to touch something that's up 600-700% before the market's even open. And that was CODA. Go back right here. So this was up on news with a contract with the Navy, and it went from 373 all the way up to 950 almost. And it had all the warning signs really of it not really working out. But I thought this was where the momentum was going to be. It had great news with the contract with the Navy. And it just goes to show you that just because a stock has great news doesn't mean it's going to keep spiking throughout the whole day. And if it makes a huge move up like this pre-market, more than likely the price is already going to be priced in on the news. So let's zoom in on this. So as soon as the market opened right here, it had a really hard time breaking 850. So it comes back down and it finds support right here where it was having support pre-market. So I said, okay, this is finding support where it had support pre-market. I was anticipating this to at least try to come back up in U-shape and test the highs at 850. So I thought I would play a bounce play on this. I got in here at 773 as it slowly started to make higher lows. And when I got in, as I said in my trade recap on the previous video, I just didn't feel comfortable in it. I wasn't feeling that there was enough momentum coming in on this. The times and sales really wasn't producing a lot of buying action, and there was a lot of big block sellers selling on the times and sales. And then I'm looking at the volume right here, and the volume is just slowly but surely dying off. And you got to put that together when you are observing a stock. The buying volume on it was decreasing, and the selling volume was somewhat increasing at a moment. So I held on to this for maybe 10:03 I sold. I bought in at 9:54. I held on to this for about 10 minutes, and I just wasn't feeling it, and I got out on it. And scroll over a little bit, look what this did. It just sold off all day. It sold off all day, and then the rest of the week, as you can see, volume just died on it. They didn't come out with any more news on it. So more than likely, until this comes out with more news, or if volume comes back into it, this is done for. So I took a loss on that one for $220, I believe. We also had MDGS. So MDGS is a low float. It's a recent reverse split. I think Monday was the first day for its reverse split. And lately, all this year of 2018, there's been a lot of reverse splits that's been happening. And when they're low float, they've been running. And this is another story right here, MDGS. So this gets a reverse split, and right at the open here, it goes from 630 and it gets halted at 760. And then it gaps up to 840, pops up, and then pulls back, and then it hit a high of 934. So right out of the open here, from 660 to 934, that's almost a $3 move right here. And well, it did get halted. That's a nice move up, and then it comes back down, bounces right off of where it opened right here, starts to form higher lows, put a nice little trend line right here, starts to form higher lows, comes right back up to the high right here, so it does a double top, and then it just sells off. So that's another example that there's no buying volume. There's nothing breaking out. So, and this is all Monday. Discovering stuff like this on Monday and putting it together, this is a sign of how the week is going to play out. Mondays set the tone for the week. Right here you see a U shape up, and it hits the exact same high right here. This is what we call a double top, and a double top is bearish. And then look what happens. It starts to sell off, and then the stock comes out and it does a public offering. They could do public offerings whenever they want, but normally they do public offerings like right at the close or right after the market closes for the day. They come out with a public offering at 11 a.m. They come out with the public offering news, and this thing just, look at that, from $8 down to $5.30, drops $3 like that. So normally when a company comes out with a public offering, it's done for. Nobody's gonna want to touch it. So Monday, MDGS, there was MTSL and CODA pre-market. Those were the really only three that popped off on Monday. Just going back on the weekend like I am right now and going through and seeing what happened on the market through the whole week to prepare yourself for the upcoming week. And all you simply got to do is get yourself a notebook, and on Monday, write down, like I did, all of this right here. This is all what happened Monday. And I'm writing down biggest percentage gainers, what's the news, what ticker has the best news, what's up pre-market. I'll write all that down. The whole day will go on, and if something big happens, I'll write down the ticker, add it to my back burner, and then at the very end of the day, I'll write down what are the biggest percent gainers. Now this is Trade Ideas, and it's a real-time stock scanner, and I highly recommend Trade Ideas. This scanner right here is the biggest percentage gainers. And what's cool about this is, like right now over the weekend, you can go back in time and you can look at performances on the day and see what the stock did on the day. So I'll go to the time frame right here. I'll click on use historical date, click this little calendar, and I'll go back to the 16th, which is Monday, and I'll go to when the market closed at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And then right here it'll pop up what popped off. These are all the biggest percentage gainers that happened on Monday. So like we said, we had MTSL and also PED. This is another one that popped off. PED, and I can instantly see on this is the head and shoulders. You got the head right here. You got a shoulder right here. I would say this is a shoulder right here, but then that's just a clear head and shoulders. And then as you see, it sold off, consolidated, popped up a little bit. It's hanging up there. It's definitely hanging near the highs. Monday it did pop up and hold its gains. It popped up from $1.50 right here up to almost $2, and then it came back down and consolidated around the 170 area, and then it had a strong close. PED, it's somewhat of a low float, 6.9. I like to have lower floats. The lower the float, the better. Bring this back up, the biggest percentage gainers. What I do is I go through Monday and I'll see the ones that I wrote down, and then I'll pull up the scanner here, and like I said, I'll go back and I'll look at the biggest percentage gainers on Monday, and these are all the ones that popped up. So at the bottom here we also have KBSF, but the volume on it is only 200,000. I want something with big volume. So, and then let's go to Tuesday. Tuesday, PED, CSBR, SRAX. So like we just went over PED. Now moving on to Tuesday, and as you can see we get into CalI right here. Let me make me a little bit smaller so you guys can see. So this is just another low float pump that happened during the week, and this is the consequences of playing something that is a low float pump. This happened pre-market the next day when it got halted by the SEC, but this thing went from $2.30 up to $5, and Cala is one of those that it always gets pumped. Traders remember CALI. The more time you spend in the market, you'll notice tickers that start to get popped up a lot. Like CHFS has been having a tough time lately. CREG, KBSF, a couple of years ago, Tops, Dries. You'll remember tickers that go on really big runs, and then later on down the road, spike more, spike again, spike again, spike again. And CalI is one of those. And if I pull up the yearly chart right here for you guys, you can see right here, spiked really big right here, spiked big here, spiked here. Traders remember these, and that's why they keep running again and again and again and again. Because when they pop up, traders instantly think, oh, that ran big in the past. I remember that. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it. And that's what happens. But playing low floats like this that have no news, this got halted right the next day before the market even opened on the 16th. This was on Monday. So yeah, Monday. Monday was a crazy day. Monday there was a lot of stuff popping off. A lot of low floats breaking out. Nothing really with no news. But if you go and look at the news right here, you can clearly see, let me move myself again. Sorry guys. You can clearly see on the news that the chances are this could have gotten halted. all this right here, going all the way back to, you can see here on January 5th, not seeing news to Chinese momentum stocks to justify dramatic price action. So this was spiking on June 1st or June 5th. And then on April 13th, CALI receives non-compliance notice from the NASDAQ stock market regarding late Form 10-K filing. And then a couple months later, they get another notice from the NASDAQ for their 10-Q filing. A couple days later, they get another notice. And then recently, at the beginning of July, they start coming out with new investigation. Contact law firms for people who have excess losses of $100,000. Now, when you start seeing stuff like that on a timeline, on a news feed, on a company, that's a big red flag. Just, hey, stay away from this, because look what happened. The next day, pre-market, it got halted at 6 a.m. and then they put a T12 halt on it at around 8 o'clock and suspended trading until remains halted trading until it furnishes additional information required by NASDAQ. So the rest of this week, this got halted. You don't want to get stuck in something like that. You don't. That's why I always say it's good to play stuff that has credible news to back it up, just to save your butt. Not really much was going on throughout the week. Like I said, a lot of stuff was coming up to its high, touching the high, and falling right back down. Then I took my second trade on Wednesday. I only traded 2 times last week. And the second trade I took, it was STAF. I got it. It started showing market action right here. It didn't have any news. I was just playing a low float pump, and I got in right here anticipating the break of $3. I got the break. It was a recent spiker. As you can see right here, this is the daily chart. It spiked really big here on July 9th, and then it sold off all right here, and all it did is just get a good bounce right here. So it started getting momentum. It was a low float. It started moving up. I was anticipating the break of $3. I sold as it was coming up to the $3 mark, and then I sold my remaining shares as it broke above the $3. And I did a trade recap on this in my previous videos. I'm not really going to go over it again. But then it sold off, and then it bounced right back up, came right back up to the high right here. Yeah, it broke the high, but it didn't break it that much, as you can see right here. And then it comes back down and pulls back, bounces off of this VWAP, and then moves right back up, breaks the high again, but again, there's no buying volume to push this up. So it breaks the high and just moves up a little bit, comes back down, and then it's done. And I would call this pretty much a triple top, and that's another bearish sign. And as you can see, after that, the rest of the week, it came right back up to it pre-market, but then it just fell right back down. This still could have potential on Monday or next week, but I don't want to predict anything. You know, I always like to react to what's happening. CPAH was another one. Was on the 18th, which is Thursday, Wednesday. So right out of the gates here at $3. And it had news too. It had news of signing of deal with leading contract center solutions provider to deploy company-hosted Strato platform, no terms disclosed. This is just another low float with good news, but it's not breaking out really to new highs. Yeah, right here at the open, it exploded from $3 up to $5. But there are a lot of people out there that don't trade the first 15 minutes of the market. Someone like me spiked up and then it pulled back. It started to move back up and it came right back up to that high here and almost touched it. And then it just slowly died off the rest of the day. But this would have been a good bounce play right here from $4 up to $4.85. That's a nice move. That's a 20% move. You just have to develop your own strategy. Capitalize on your strategy and study patterns, and patterns. And when these patterns present themselves, you capitalize on them. But I didn't trade CPAH. I didn't do anything. Because I traded STAF. That's what I traded. So CPAH happened right around when STAF was going off, and STAF had more of my attention than CPAH. But other than that, nothing else really went on, as I said. And I wanted to show you guys one thing. SPCB had good earnings, but it didn't do anything. And it just goes to show, just because a company comes out with good earnings doesn't mean it's going to go out spiking. You know, it had earnings of 7 cents. It popped up pre-market on good earnings, and then all this day it just dropped from $2.40 down to $1.87. So it just goes to show you right there, and I wanted to show you guys, just because a company has good earnings or if it had great news doesn't mean it's going to spike and make new highs. You don't want to predict the market, you want to react to the market. And if you think you know the market and think you can push the market around, the market is going to spit you out, chew you up and spit you out every single time. The way I look at it, I don't want to fight with the market. I want to work with the market. I want to piggyback the market's back. So I just simply try to, the best I can, see what the market is displaying to me and just piggyback what it's doing at the current moment. I don't ever want to fight trends. I don't ever want to chase. I don't ever want to, like I said, try to predict or hope. That's not a strategy. And I just want to put patterns together and follow the patterns to a T, the best that I can, because patterns happen over and over and over again. So let's bring back up that scanner here. Let's go to time frame, use historical date. Let's just go to Wednesday, the 18th, to see what it pops up. So STAF, MTSL, PED, you have NFEC that popped up right there. But there's no volume on it. And as you can see right here, going back, this was Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So from Monday, it bottomed out at $2.60 and goes all the way up to $4, but there's really no volume on this. Again, this is the daily chart. Let me move myself again. So we have right here on Friday, I did 400,000 in volume. Thursday, I did 200,000. Wednesday, 168,000. Right here on the 17th, which was Tuesday, it did 270,000 in volume. But looks like it's starting to move up, and you never know what could come of this, but it could be getting overextended, and it does need a pullback because now it's up 4 days in a row right here. So I would add this to my watch list because NFEC also is a low flow, and once it gets momentum, it could explode. Yeah, the float on it is only 3.7 million. But as you can see right here, even if you were to throw a trend line up on this, all the way up, just follow the trend line all the way up right here, but it just doesn't have any volume. And I look for this to come up to $5, and if it was to break $5, then that's when volume could pop back into this. But this does have a history of moving and moving up nicely, and it's looking like it's setting itself up for something good. And I'll just simply throw this on my back burner. I don't know how you pull that up and add it to my back burner. So I'll be keeping an eye on that throughout this upcoming week. This is how you, going over all these plays, develop a little watch list just for the week to keep an eye on. I don't like to go crazy and make a big, huge watch list of tickers to watch throughout next week, because you don't know what Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is going to bring. There could be something crazy that happens that just steals all the volume, and that's where all the eyes are going to be. So just, I would say maybe just a couple. Maybe if it has a good pattern that it's setting it up to, like maybe a squeeze, or there's a pattern that's forming and you just want to keep an eye on it to see what it does. I do that all the time. I see a squeeze happen or a pattern forming on the daily chart, and I'll throw it on a watch list just to keep an eye on it, because the more you match a pattern up with the daily chart, with the intraday chart, the bigger the pop could be. Remember that. It's an important thing to remember. The more you line up the daily chart with the intraday chart, the bigger the pop. Let's go back to the biggest percentage gainer. Nothing really new for, when was this? Thursday? Thursday, once again. Thursday was a really slow day. There's just currently no momentum in the market right now, and when there's no momentum in the market and nothing's popping, it's just a really good time to observe and study. That's all it is, and sit on your hands and wait, because you don't want to slowly drain what you've worked hard for. And this is one of the big percentage gainers on Thursday, and I can clearly see here with all these white dots, those are dojis, and that's no volume. Really, there's no volume on this. So it's clearly showing right there that there's no volume, like I previously said. Pull this back up. Another one, NFEC. We just went over NFEC. But if you keep going down the list, that's when you'll start seeing stuff, because none of this really has any volume. You got seed, and here's another one from 780 up to 10, almost $11. I could see something like this with all this. There's no volume, it having big spreads. That's the only thing. It looks good, but it just doesn't have any volume, and all it could really take is for one big seller to come in and just dump his shares, and then that's when you just see it start to collapse and fall. But I remember Thursday just being a boring day. There was nothing going on Wednesday, or Thursday, I'm sorry. So let's go to the last day here, Friday. Short squeeze Friday. Now Friday is a good example because we had SRAX, I believe, MTSL, because MTSL was the pump that was going on the past 2 weeks. So Friday, I remember it because, it just happened. I had my eye on SAEX and MTSL because it was up pre-market and it was up near the previous day high. So I was looking for this to start running at the bell or hang around this area at the beginning of the day to try and test the previous day high and maybe do something crazy, but it just never did. It just, right at the open bell, it popped up real quick and then it just sold off. And then SAEX, we'll come over to this one. Okay, SAEX also has news as well. With the news, it went from $1.69 up to $2.58 here. And the float on it is a little higher at 14.5 million. So It's always good to know the flow on all of these, just to keep in mind how fast is it gonna move. So a float with 14.5 million shares, this isn't gonna explode up like a 1 million in float does. Right at the bell here, zoom in a little bit. I gotta mess with the candles here, this is kind of sloppy. But right at the bell here, it starts to drop below, but it holds support right here at the lows of pre-market, as you can see at 215. So it drops down, it comes up to pre-market high, and it doesn't break. And then it comes back down, and as you can see right here, makes a higher low. So everybody's like, okay, let's see what happens. Makes a U shape, comes up, breaks this high right here, and then breaks this high back here. But it just, from there, it just didn't explode up. And that's what we've been seeing all week. And you got to keep in mind on Fridays, I don't like to trade Fridays because Friday there's really no volume going in the market on Fridays. Companies don't come out with press releases on Fridays. A lot of traders take the day off on Fridays. A lot of traders leave the market early on Fridays. And then you have just there's no volume really in the market. And when the market opens, that's when your time slot starts to get really smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller as time goes on, because traders are leaving the market. Once they do a trade, lose, or take profit, they're done for the day. Or they don't even get into the market, and they just enjoy their Friday and just start studying up for the weekend or just spending time with their family. Volume is really light on Fridays, like what I've been trying to say. Fridays can also be special because short squeezes can happen. I've seen a lot of explosive stuff happen on Fridays, and it's crazy the way some of these moves do it on Friday, because you have a lot of short sellers as well that don't want to hold a position over the weekend. So they'll cover all their positions. And when they cover all their positions, they have to buy to get out of their position. But then if you have buyers also buying what they're covering, that's when you start getting all these short squeezes and exploding up. But like I said, I don't like trading on Fridays. I've tried trading on Fridays in the past. I had a statistic thing on TraderView. That's a trading journal website where you can track your trades and get all really down to the statistics of your trades. And when I was looking at it, majority of my losses were coming on Fridays. The red bar on Fridays was big. It was big. So I learned instantly right there, okay, I'm done trading Fridays. Fridays are not my days. Going on, and then I start to hear other traders not trading on Fridays and talking about how there's no volume and just the conditions on Fridays and companies not coming out with news, like I said. I'll do a review of that website in the future and a couple other trading journal websites. I highly recommend you all traders have to have a trading journal. Write down your trades, track your trades. Immediately right after you make a trade, if it's a winner or if it's a loser, write down what you're feeling at that particular moment. If you blow it off and say, oh, I'll do it later on, then you're going to lose all the emotions that are currently running through you at that exact moment. So it's good to at least capture that. Or take a little video diary. Get out your phone. Everybody has phones. Just simply record yourself, or record yourself like I'm doing right here, and have a little video diary and just talk to yourself on what you did, what were you feeling, what were you thinking as soon as you got in, what were you thinking when the stock was making its move, why did you hold, why did you sell, all that good stuff. And then over the weekend right now, that's when you go back and look at all of that, and then you'll learn something from that too. It really does help going back and looking at your emotions and what you were thinking and learning from them. Going into next week, Monday, starting July 23rd, I'm going to be cautious going in. And this is me. Earnings season is still going on right now. We're just not seeing momentum. And all it's going to take is for one stock to just really, really explode and go supernova, parabolic, and that's going to bring the volume back into the market. It's a little dry right now. As I just presented the SPY, we're at a top right now, and we're not seeing any explosive moves up. So that's not looking good. So we're going to see what happens Monday. Monday's going to be a tell-all of what's going to happen. And like I said, Monday's kind of set the tone for the week. And like I said, I'm not going to go crazy or anything. I'm going to take my foot off the gas and step back for a moment. And this is the benefit, too, of following a lot of good traders on Twitter. If you go through your Twitter feed, I know on mine, a lot of traders took losses this week, talked about discipline, just over traded. A lot of them straight up said they over traded. You have to pay attention to stuff like that. Put in the market condition what other traders are saying about how their performance is, putting all that together and being like, okay, so right now it's not a good idea to go all in. Let's just take my foot off the gas and wait to see what happens. Like I said, I'm not going to go crazy on Monday. I'm actually going to sit back like this, and I'm just going to observe and see what happens. Like I said, it's a lot of last week was a lot of good bounce plays, and let's see if that holds up this upcoming week, as nothing is really breaking out. So a lot of people could also be looking at bounce plays. That's what's great about the market. The market's always changing, so you always have to rethink your strategy and approach the market every day and every week differently. That's my opinions for the upcoming week. Just remember, guys, this video is my opinions and my views only. I am not a financial advisor, and I do not recommend when to buy or sell. And this is for entertainment purposes only. I enjoy making these videos. I'm not receiving any money. I just like making these videos for fun and showing you guys my thought process and documenting my journey as a day trader. It's something so I can also look at how I've grown as a trader. So I think I'm going to start doing this every week over the weekend, because what's the point in doing it myself when I can also share it with you guys as well. So this is the process I go through every single weekend. And then on top of it, I'm always on the internet looking up news articles or just learning, watching other traders' YouTube videos, and trying to grow and always studying and always learning new stuff. You never stop growing as a trader, like I said, and you just continue to keep going at it and going at it and going at it, because you've got to have that drive to be the best that you can be. If I was making money in every single trade I did and never taking losses, which is never going to happen, but then you would start to develop a cockiness and thinking that you own the market and that you're the best of all time or something. I don't ever want to get like that. I want to try to stay as humble as I can. The market is always right. I'm not always right. The market's always right. I don't ever want to try to say that I've mastered the market, because it can't be done really. But I don't want to get too much into that. Make sure you guys prepare yourself. We'll see what Monday brings up. Until next time, guys. See you later. Have a good one.